What is going on, coin traders? Thanks for joining me for another show looking at Vechain VET on the ticker. Already doing very nice on the day. So we are up about 15% almost. A couple of days ago, we had an extremely nice bullish candle up almost 25%. Yesterday, a little bit of a pullback. We were down 9.5% on the day. So a very nice rebound day. Looking at the volume, very nice volume as well, because on the sell-offs, we actually didn't see as much bullish volume, as much volume coming in as we were seeing for the bull volume. So as we can see, very nice upside volume bars here on all these moves, just showing a lot of strength in this trend, especially as we do come off of a low and start to set new price highs compared to previous trends. So breaking a lot of resistance points now, pushing price up. But if we do zoom out here, we are looking at a lot of potential price levels based on previous trade history. So looking at VPVR, for example, we can see that we are approaching some big upside resistance levels based on the peaks and the center of masses. So the next one's going to be just around the 3.5 cent mark, obviously based off a lot of heartline for these trades, as well as this big heartline for this resistance point before pulling back and setting the trend high. Above that, we are going to be looking at a big resistance point right around the 4 cent mark. So big resistance targets up overhead at the 3.5 and 4 cent levels. Specifically for price levels, we're pretty much going to be looking in at about 3.73 up to about 3.8. So pretty much that whole zone from about 3.5 all the way up to 4 is going to be a pretty resistive zone. But we know that on a little bit of a longer term scale, we have confirmed a bit of a bottom after an accumulation period. So nice to see this very nice breakout with a lot of good volume coming in here. So even zooming out for Vechain, you can still see how this does fit into the overall scale, and how we're actually looking at coming out of a much longer term bottom pretty much ever since 2021, about 3 years ago in November, when we had our last peak in trend high before a very long bear winter, but period of time that we had just massive accumulation here. So we had a long stretch where pretty much the price was just sitting right around 2 cents or about 2.5 cents. So about 2.5 years of just more or less flatlining. And then finally now we're starting to see great signs of actually breaking out, especially after we had this nice little pop and rally at the start of the year earlier. And now after this accumulation, pullback period, and now off we go. So big price targets to the upside are going to be looking at, and specifically we are going to be targeting the next upside resistance point from the trend earlier in the year, coming in at about 5.5 cents. But more realistically, we're going to be looking at upside targets pretty much up to about 6.5 cents here on this next move. Those aren't going to be hit right away or immediately, because we do have to have some time to actually grow here and cool back, confirm some of these previous resistances as a nice support level. But flipping over into the 2-day chart, really nice setup right now, especially after confirming a lot of these exponential moving averages as those resistive points. And then finally now back testing this as a support and seeing a lot more of that follow through, getting this nice bullish flip on the EMAs where we're having the 12 on top, starting to see just about the 26 on top of the 50. So pretty much setting up very nicely, which we actually haven't seen happen here since November of last year. Now, checking out Vechain on CoinMarketCap, we are looking at being the number 42 rank right now with a market cap of about 2.67 billion. What's cool to see about Vechain is just how we're looking at this price chart right now. But if we flip over to market cap, there's not really much difference in the price chart compared to the market cap. And with some cryptos, for example, if they have big token unlocks or there's a lot of dilution or inflation, you'll actually see this kind of get manipulated quite a bit from the price chart. So it's actually great to see the price chart actually mirroring up pretty well with this market cap chart, showing just not a lot of extra tokenomic inflation and a lot of things that kind of manipulate and lead to more or less kind of a funky setup, where in this period, we actually have a great opportunity because we know that we're not necessarily impacting the market cap that much with a lot of external factors. So pretty much the chart analysis does start to say the same, and a lot of targets are actually approaching previous targets just because the market cap here isn't manipulated as much as the price, for example. Now, looking at the weekly chart right now, especially zoomed out compared to the 2021 rally, and if we go ahead and zoom in on the current, you can see how nice setup we're looking at right now with the current candle blowing past and showing that follow through from the previous week's candle that blew through all of these exponential moving averages, especially after confirming the 12 as support. So another great setup again, week on week, increasing bullish volume here as we do trend to the upside. So 3 weeks of nice upside with that follow through, especially after confirming this longer term support bottom, coming in right around the 2-cent mark and breaking through a lot of these previous resistive points based on the EMAs. So right now, do have a lot of upside momentum and the trend is growing in favor of the VeChain bulls. And so if we go ahead and zoom out and look at kind of where we were 4 years ago, this is the period that we were at pretty much right at the start in the kickoff of this huge, massive bull spike. So we just had great gains coming in for there. And especially if we look at a timeline, for example, we're looking at about 154 days. So almost half a year of just continuous upside and parabolic rally and explosive move at that point. Obviously, no guarantees that that would happen in this instance. But for example, if we actually look at the price target gain to the all-time high, about a 22.5% gain, or a 22.5x gain, about 2100% gain. And so especially like we said, with a lot of less manipulation, but one of the things that we kind of have to be aware of is that if we look at the volume that we were seeing last cycle, compared to pretty much what we've seen for VeChain over this entire stretch and even in the current, it's not much volume, but also that does leave plenty of room for volume to actually increase, which would just absolutely shoot this price of VeChain up even more and more and more. Now we know that a lot of altcoin projects typically don't get back to their all-time highs that they saw on the first big bull cycle that they were a part of. So there's no guarantee that we're actually going to see some of these previous highs come in for VeChain again. But just for example, even if we do see the current price at about 3.3 come into the previous trend where we hit back in the November of 2021, that would still be looking at almost about a 20-cent VeChain, which would be about a 6x, almost a 6x return from current price levels based on that price target. Like we said, if there's plenty of room for volume to come in, we could absolutely see this coin fly though. So again, we have a lot more potential room to grow just based off of the volumes of the trend. So for this much magnitude with only this much volume so far is a good sign, showing that the bears aren't really putting up much of a fight because the bulls are just absolutely pumping up the volume here for a higher and higher and higher drive. And especially with not much selling pressure, if we do get this kind of volume that we have seen at the start of the trend of the end of last year and earlier in the spring of this year, then that's pretty much going to start to shoot this price up even more, leading to that phase E breakout just in massive amounts when we do talk about a Wyckoff accumulation pattern like we've seen over the last few years. But zooming out really quick here, you can just see how the price levels do intersect a lot of these previous points of resistance here on this VeChain chart, specifically as we did pull back from the last bull cycle. So we are looking kind of right around the current price levels at about 3.4 cents. And then up there, we would be looking at the next level of resistance coming in, which would be right around 4.4 cents. So just like we talked about, a pretty strong zone from about 3.5 to about 4, pretty much all the way up to about 4.5, 5 cents as well. But once we do get past a lot of those targets, the ability for VeChain to just fly, especially with a lot more of this increasing volume, which we have definite opportunity for, is really going to enable this coin to perform really well, in my opinion, this cycle. So I think too, especially as we do talk about layer ones growing in utility, as well as a very nice use case, we could definitely see VeChain doing well and doing a lot of great things coming up. So we'll continue to keep our eye on VeChain and stay updated on it. But otherwise, that is going to go ahead and wrap up the show for today on VeChain, VET on that ticker. If you did enjoy the show, please hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you have not done so just yet. Also, make sure to post any questions, comments, issues, disagreements, all that fun stuff down below in the comments section. Looking forward to getting back to each and every one of you. That is going to do it for now, though, so stay safe, take care, coin traders, and I'll catch you back in the next video.